for joining us today. We are happy to announce that we have partnered up with XpressDocs to provide you with professionally designed marketing materials. All of our marketing materials purchased through this website are reviewed by your broker and AJI Corporate to ensure that they meet all of your individual state advertising regulations. At Allison James Estates and Homes, we are always looking for new tools to provide to our agents to help increase your business. Now, we could not do this without you and your amazing referrals to AJI. With that being said, I would like to now pass it over to Micah Heimer. Good morning, Micah.
Good morning, Victoria. For those of you not familiar, my name is Micah Heimer. I'm the implementation manager here at XpressDocs, and I'm going to be doing the training with you all today. First off, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to attend. Before we get started, if you're not familiar with XpressDocs, we are based out of Fort Worth, Texas. We were established in 2001 with a focus on automating the print and order and production process for enterprise real estate companies. And now we've become one of the industry leaders, serving hundreds of different real estate companies, and we're known for having a really high quality print with industry leading turn times, which I'll talk about in a little bit more detail as we start diving in. Before we get started, what I'll do is I'll give you guys just a quick high-level overview of some of the things that we're going to be covering today. We're going to be taking a look at how to access the site, how to register an account if you don't have one already, or how to log in if you already have an existing one. We'll take a look at how to get around the site. There's quite a bit on there. And then we'll actually walk through what it looks like putting together a shipped order, so something like flyers or business cards, and also how to put together a mailed order, so something like a direct mail piece. Just to notate, this meeting will be recorded, so don't feel obligated to try to remember it all. We are going to cover quite a bit today. Along the way, feel free to submit any questions that you have during the training. You should have an option through the GoToMeeting to be able to submit in any questions. Now, I'm not going to be reviewing any of the questions during the course of the call, and so some of the questions may get answered along the way just naturally as we walk through the webinar. But once we get to the end, I'll take a look at all those questions, so don't hesitate to jump in there if you do have any questions on anything. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing you're going to want to do to access is you're just going to want to open up any web browser that you currently use, and you're just going to want to enter in expressdocs.com/Allison James, which you can see here up in the browser bar. And that's XpressDocs, that's XpressDocs.com/Allison James. Now, if you already have an existing account set up, this is where you would be able to come to log in to access the system. You just want to, under the account login section here, input your username, which would traditionally be your Allison James email address, and your password. In the event that you forget your password, you can click the Forget Password, and it'll ask you the security questions that you set up when you registered your account, and you'll be able to reset your password. Now, if you've never used XpressDocs before, what you're going to want to do is, first off, create an account. And doing that only takes about 30 or so seconds to get set up. It's pretty quick. You're just going to want to click the Create an Account button, which you'll see that's going to be listed right here under the Login to My Account. And now it's going to ask you to fill out a little bit of basic information. So here real quick, I'm just going to punch in just a little bit of information so you can see how it will work. Now, one thing to notate on the password is it's going to ask for a password that's at least 8 characters, and that includes at least 1 number. So you'll enter that password twice. You can punch in your phone number. Here's an important thing to notate, though, when you're registering your account. You're going to want to input the zip code for your office. So let's say your office is 27511. You would want to input that as your office zip code. Now it just has a couple quick questions before you proceed forward. It will want to know how did you hear about XpressDocs? So you can select any of the options there, such as your company promotes XpressDocs. And this is important. You'll want to answer these 2 security questions here. So you can just open up the drop-down menu, select any of the security questions, and add your answer. And then just click the Next button to move forward. So what it'll do now is it'll just validate, based on the zip code that you've entered, which office you would like to select. If in the event that there are multiple offices within the same zip code, you'll see the multiple offices, and you can just select whichever office that you're affiliated with, and it'll make sure that it adds you into the system. Now, I'm not going to move forward with the next step because it'll just ask me to verify, and then that would actually create that user. And since this is a live system, I'll just stop on the registration here. But as you can see, it's pretty quick to get set up and to get you added into the correct office within your account at Allison James. Now, once you log in, this is where it's going to drop you off. So this is the landing page after you've logged into the system. So from here, you can see there's quite a few links and buttons on here, and there's quite a bit to take in. So before we get started, let me give you a high-level tour on how to get around in the system here. So first off, up at the top of your screen, you're going to see your shopping cart. So any items that you have saved in your shopping cart, you'll be able to access here. Right now, I don't have anything in my cart, so it's showing there's nothing in there. Once you've logged in, it'll show your name and whatever office you're affiliated with right here by the My Account settings. So right now, I'm in just a sample account in a demo office, so it's just showing that information here. Now, in the event that you need to modify some of your account information, let's say, for example, you want to reset your password or you want to manage anything that you've added into the system previously, you can just click on that, and this will allow you to come in and you can modify information like those security questions that you had. You can modify your password or the information that you have saved for your contact information. You can set up default shipping addresses, manage headshots or address lists that you may have on file, or just a wide variety of different things. So you can do all that right here from this account setting here at the top. You can also log directly out of your account, or if you need help along the way, you can take advantage of the different support options that you see up here in the right-hand corner. Now, this is important because we do offer Allison James Tier 1 customer service, and what that means for you guys is at any point in time as you're logged into the system or working on an order, you can reach out directly to XpressDocs and we'll be able to assist you with your order. So there's a couple different ways you can do that. You can call in the toll-free number, which you see here at the top. That's 866-977-3627. And what we can do is we'll be happy to walk you all the way through your order if you need it, or help you look up any information that you may need. If you prefer not to call in, there's also a live chat option, which will connect you into the customer service desk as well, and then you can just chat directly with anyone in our customer service department. Now, the hours of operation for the customer service team are Monday through Thursday from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Now, the system will be live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And what that means is you can actually place orders whenever you want and whenever you're available to. But if you do have questions or you need to talk to someone for support, that's the hours of operations that you'd have for getting support. So at any point in time, you can just click that home button here, and this will take you back to your landing screen. Now, you can see over here there's a section called Personal Marketing, but you can also see there's a wide variety of different categories here on the landing page. So on the landing page, what you're going to find is this is going to be all of your Allison James branded content. So things like your business cards, your postcards, your flyers, brochures, stationery, and letterhead, things like that. That's all going to be here on the home page. If you're looking for things like personal marketing, you'll want to select this Personal Marketing tab to open up those categories. And within here, there's over 1,000 professionally designed templates that are going to cover everything from every major holiday that you can think of. As you can see here, there's a selection of different holidays here on the left-hand side. There's going to be sports schedules and calendars, consumer tips, recipes, birthday cards, just a wide variety of different personal marketing categories that you can just jump around through and select from. And that's all going to be available under the Personal Marketing section. I'll go back to the home screen here. Now you can see there's quite a few quick links over here on the side, and most of these are going to be set up just to give you some information or help provide support to you. There's two main ones that you want to pay attention to, and that's here on this top left-hand section, which is going to be your pending orders and your order history. Now, your pending orders will be for any job that you've started that you haven't actually submitted yet. So let's say you're working on some flyers, but you're still missing some of the property photos for them. Well, you can get started on that order, save the order, and then come back to it at a later time when you're ready to add in those photos. So by clicking the pending order section, I can see all the jobs that I've already started previously that I haven't actually submitted yet for printing. And you'll see them all listed here. And you can just click the place or edit button to pick back up where you left off and to resume working on that order. If you want to delete out that order, let's say you started it before, but you don't actually want to submit that out now, you can just click this little trash can icon here to delete it out of your pending orders. Now, it doesn't hurt to leave an order in your pending orders. As long as you don't actually submit the job, we'll just keep it saved on file for you. So it doesn't hurt to have them saved in here if you need them. Now, once you would actually submit that job, what would happen is the order would be moved from your order history, or excuse me, from your pending orders, and it would move into your order history. So from here, this is where you're going to be able to search for a wide variety of different things for any orders that you've submitted. You can just click up the search orders option, and you can enter things like the order name or property address to search for the order. We'll automatically sort with the 10 most recent orders that you have in your account here, so you may not need to sort if you only have a couple orders in the system. From the order history, you'll be able to do things like a one-touch reorder. You can view a proof of the order if it's a shipped order. Let's say, for example, like business cards, and you want to see the tracking information. We're connected directly into the FedEx tracking API, so you can actually pull up all of your FedEx tracking information from your order history here. Or if you've just submitted the order and we haven't actually started printing it yet, it'll give you the option to be able to cancel the job up to the point where we print the order. So if you submitted a job and then you realize there was a spelling error or a mistake in it and you want to get that corrected, you'll actually be able to go into your order history and cancel that job. Now, once we actually begin printing, though, it'll actually take away that functionality. So just making you aware, if you try to cancel the job and it's not letting you, that means that we've probably already begun production on that order. So now let's take a look at how to get started on some of these different product categories here. So you can see there's quite a few different sections in here, and most of these categories are going to have subcategories below them. And you can select any of these directly from the home page. So let's say, for example, you're looking at postcards. You can just select the postcard categories by clicking on it, and then it will give you different options for subcategories. So are you looking for small postcards or large postcards, extra large postcards, folded postcards? You can see there's a wide variety of different templates that are available. If you wanted to work on some large postcards, you can just click View All, and then you'll see different options. So there's going to be different formatting options, ones that will have different numbers of photos. You can find a template that's going to be specific to your needs, and you can just click on them if you want to view one larger to see how it looks. Now, you can also jump between subcategories here on the left-hand side, so I don't have to go back to my home screen either. From any of these categories, I can jump directly over to another category just by clicking on it from the left-hand menu here. So if I wanted to, say, for example, go look at some one-sided flyers, I could just open up the one-sided flyers category right from here and jump right into that. So let's say, for example, that you wanted to see what it looks like to walk through a business card order. Well, I already have some business cards saved, so let's go ahead and open up that order that I have saved from my pending orders, and let's walk through what all you would need to have input into your order to submit that. So the first thing it's going to ask you to do on any job that you have is to enter a name for your order. So that's the first thing that it's going to prompt here at the top. This is a required field, and whatever you put into this field here isn't actually going to print anywhere on the card. Really what this is going to be is just for your records. This is how that job is going to appear in your order history and on your pending orders. So what I'd recommend doing is, for example, if it's a postcard, to name the order something like the property address or something along those lines, just to make it a little bit easier for you to be able to find that order later. Next, it'll ask you if it's a design that includes a headshot, and this particular business card does include a headshot. It'll ask you to select a headshot from your gallery. So if you first registered your account, you're probably not going to have any headshots saved in your gallery. But adding in a headshot is very easy. So above your headshot gallery, you'll see there's a button here called Upload or Import Headshots. You can just click that, click the Browse button, browse for where you have your headshot saved in your computer. If you want to make it your default headshot, meaning let's say you have multiple headshots and you want this one to be the one that's automatically selected, you can just select the default headshot option here. You can also name it whatever you want. So if this is a new headshot, you can name it that. Then click Insert into Headshot Gallery. And now, after it's refreshed, you'll see there's my new headshot that's saved in my gallery here. You can actually have as many headshots as you want. And once you've uploaded in that headshot, we're going to automatically keep that headshot on file for you in the system. So the good news is, once you've uploaded in the headshot, you don't have to worry about adding it in anymore. Below each headshot, you'll also have options to go in and rename it, to crop it, rotate it, download it, or delete it out of your headshot gallery right from here. Now, to pick which headshot you would like to use, it's just a matter of opening up the drop-down, and then you'll see all the different names that you have for your headshots in your gallery. And you can just pick whichever headshot you want to use. So let's say I want to use this middle headshot here, which is Sample XD1. I would just pick Sample XD1 from the headshot gallery. Now, one thing to note here, what it's doing is it's prompting me that the photo that I've selected is low quality. So I can choose OK to use it anyway or cancel to use a different headshot. Now, one thing to notate on that is just because a photo or a headshot registers as low quality, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to look bad when it's printed. That just means it's fallen below a specific minimum threshold that we like to make sure that all the photos have for optimal printing quality. The one thing that you're going to want to do is make sure when you're working on the job that the how it looks on the proof is how it's actually going to appear when it's printed. So now you can see it's going to ask you to fill out some of these fields here. You're going to need to add in your first name, your last name, your title, your headshot, email, and you can see all the different fields here that it's going to ask you to fill out. It is required now, and they are going to want you to make sure that you add in your license information. Right now, it's got a note in here for the state of California, but it's going to be a new policy to make sure that everyone does include their license information on these pieces when you're working on them. But you can see it's pretty self-explanatory in terms of what fields you would need to fill out to submit the job. So let's go ahead and actually generate a proof now. So here at the bottom of the screen, I have an option to save and exit. So let's say I wanted to save these business cards and come back to them later. I could just click the Save and Exit button. Or if I wanted to generate a proof to see how it would look, I can just click the Continue button. And what it's going to do now is generate a production proof of the order. Now, depending on your internet connection, this is going to generate a live production proof, so it may take a moment for this to generate. And this is where, kind of tying back into what I was talking about a moment ago, this is where it's going to be important to make sure that you look at the proof to see how it's going to look. If something is getting trimmed off, let's say maybe the way the headshot was formatted, you're getting the top of the head is getting cut off in this proof, or trimmed off from the side, or maybe it just looks a little pixelated and grainy. How it looks on these proofs is how it's going to print. So it's very important to look at both the front and the back. So you're validating that everything's spelled correctly, but you're also validating that something isn't getting trimmed off improperly or looks incorrect. You can either view the proofs larger, or you can view them as a PDF. And you can see, since this is a double-sided business card, you'll have an option to view the proofs for both the front and the back. If I click View as PDF, it's going to open that up in a new window, and then you can see it there, and you can zoom in on it depending on your browser by using the zoom in or zoom out buttons. Now, in the event that you notice that something was incorrect on here, let's say the name was misspelled or maybe the title was wrong, you can just click the Edit Proof button here below your proofs, and that'll take you back, and you can go in and make those modifications. If everything looks good, though, let's say everything looks good on that these proofs for you and you're ready to move forward, you just need to check off the customer agreement. And what this is just acknowledging that you did actually look at the proofs, that you're validating that how it looks on there is how it's going to print. Because I did opt to use a low resolution image, it's giving me a warning about that. And I'm also understanding that it is required for me to add my license number on there. Now, once you check those boxes, just click the Next button to move forward. So now it just wants to know what quantity would you like to ship out for these business cards. So it'll give you a pricing breakdown at different quantities, and you'll be able to see the discounts that you get per piece as you select different quantities. I'm just going to leave it on the default, which is just 100 business cards. You're also going to have different options for coding availability. So if you want to just leave it on the default business card stock, you would just leave it on none, and we would just use our traditional business card stock. But there are options where you can add in things like a high gloss or a matte coat finish as well. I'm just going to keep moving forward by using the Next button. Now, you'll notice on all the screens there is a Next or a Back button. You want to make sure you don't use the Back button in your browser, as that can lead to your browser timing out. So just make sure as you're moving back and forth in the order that you're using the Back and Next buttons within the order itself. So what it's asking for now is for me to choose where I would like to ship it. And it's going to default to your office information But you can also click the specify a ship to address if you want to ship it somewhere else. So let's say you want to ship it maybe to your home, or maybe you want to ship it to a client. You can just click the specify ship to address and add your address in there, and we'll save your address on file. You can actually save up to 6 different addresses within your account. I'm just going to leave it on the office address default for now. And then the last thing it's going to need to know on the shipping is how you would like to have it shipped. And you can see there's a wide variety of different options, and we'll give you costs here on the right-hand side. Now, we offer Allison James free FedEx Smart Post shipping on all orders. So whether you're ordering 100 business cards or 5,000 flyers, you can take advantage of that FedEx Smart Post and not actually have to pay any shipping costs. Now, the FedEx Smart Post is not the fastest delivery service, but it is all done through FedEx and the post office, so it's a very efficient service, and it'll give you an estimated arrival date below each option. So if you want to take advantage of the free shipping, just leave it on the FedEx Smart Post, which is going to be the default option, and you'll be able to take advantage of the free shipping. Now, if you do need to expedite it, let's say you're in a rush and you do need these business cards tomorrow for an event, you can take advantage of things like the ground, 2-day standard, or priority overnights just by selecting them. Now, one thing to notate on our print production, as I did say at the beginning, we do have very fast printing. And what that means to you guys is when you submit your order, any order submitted by 4 o'clock Central Standard Time will actually print and ship out the same day. So an example, let's say it's 12:30 p.m. here, and I'm submitting these business cards today. Since that's before the 4 o'clock deadline, we're going to print out these business cards today, ship them out today, and depending on how I have them shipped, I can actually get them as early as tomorrow. So we do print and ship very, very quickly. Now, in the event that you place after 4 o'clock or on a weekend, we'll still drop that directly into the print queue, but you just need to add that additional business day on there since it's after the shipping cutoff. And with that, we're complete. We are on the checkout screen now, and we are ready to submit this job. So here I am on the checkout screen. It gives me an overview of the order that I've put together. It'll ask me to input your credit card information here. You'll have an option to save the credit card if you want to save it on file. It is a secure system, so that is safe to do. But if you don't want to, you can just leave it on no, and we will not save your credit card information on file. Now, one thing to note here is when you get to the end and you filled out all your information, it will ask to submit the job for approval. And this is what Victoria mentioned at the beginning of the call. And any jobs that you submit will need to be approved by the corporate office. So once you submit the job, it'll send out a notice directly to them, and they'll be able to review, and if they need to make any edits or changes, they can do that. Or if it's approved, once they click that approve button, it drops right into the print queue and begins production shortly after that. Now, all the way up till this point, if I don't click the submit for approval button, this job hasn't been submitted yet. So make sure you get all the way to the checkout, and you have to make sure you click that submit for approval button. So I could go all the way to the checkout and then save my order, and that didn't submit my job. So just kind of notating there, that's an important thing to make sure you actually click the submit for approval button. Otherwise, that job's still going to be saved in your account. Now, maybe you want to do that because maybe you want to actually have multiple orders that you want to submit at the same time. You can do that. That's fine. What I'm going to do here, since once again this is a live site, I'm not going to submit that for approval. I'm just going to go back to the home screen here. And let's take a look at Postcards because that's going to go through the direct mail process. And so I want to show you guys how that's going to be a little bit different than when you're working on a shipped order. So let me go ahead and open up a postcard order. So you can see right off the bat, this looks very familiar to what we were seeing with the business cards. The first thing it's going to ask me to do is to name the order. And that's because the way we've laid out the system is regardless of what products you're working on, whether it's business cards or flyers or brochures or whatever it may be, we've laid out the process to be exactly the same across the board. So if you've walked through on one product, you've walked through all of the products. So it'll help make it easier for you to get the hang of the system. So just like before, I can see my headshot gallery, and you can see it's included that other headshot that I uploaded previously is now saved on file in the account for me. You can see on some of the designs, including this particular postcard here, there's an option for 2 different headshots that I can use on the order. Now, just because the design has an option for 2 headshots, that doesn't mean you have to use any headshots or that you have to use 2. You can actually just pick and choose right from the headshot gallery. So let's say I wanted to use this first photo here, which is another team member that I work with a lot. I can just make sure that's selected as the first headshot, and then if I want my new headshot to be the second one, I just click the new headshot, and that'll make that a dual headshot. Now, if I left the second one not selected, then it would only use that first headshot that I selected in the order. Now, here's something that's a little bit different than what we saw on the business cards. This is asking me for a photo gallery, and that's because the postcard that we're working on gives you the option to upload a photo that is used on the front of the design. So let's go ahead and add a photo into this order. To do that, click the Upload or Import Photos, and you'll see this looks very similar to what we saw with the headshots. You can just browse and upload in a headshot directly from your computer. There's a few other options, though, that you have on these photo orders. One of them is you can click the Previous Orders tab and then open up the drop-down list, and you can select from any previous job that you've started and import those photos right into your order. So let's say I've listed this property previously, and now it's sold, and I want to send out a follow-up mailing just letting people know that that property is now sold, but I don't have to re-upload in on all those photos. I can just find that order and then just select whichever photos I want to use on this new order by selecting them, and you'll see once I click on them that it's highlighted them, and I can just insert those right into my order gallery. If you don't want to select one that you've accidentally clicked, just click on it again and you'll see that it deselects it. If you have a professional photography service company as well, we are integrated with over 30 different professional photography companies. You'll be able to select from the service there if it's connected to your account, and you can import the photos directly from your professional photography service company. For the demo, though, I'm just going to go ahead and upload one from my computer. I can see there's the one that I've added in. You can name it just like your headshot. So if this is the front image, I can name it that. If you don't, it'll just default it to the job name. And then I click Insert into Order Gallery. And now when it refreshes, I'll see that there in my photo gallery, there's that photo that I've uploaded in. And just like before, I have some options to edit it if I need it. And just like your headshot gallery, you can just pick it from the drop-down menu if that's the photo you want to use. So if you uploaded in multiple photos, you could actually cycle between different photos here and see how they look in your proof. So I've selected the front as the photo that I'd like to use. Now, just like your business cards, there are going to be a few different fields that you can fill out. Your address information, your subheadline price, it's all very self-explanatory. The postcards have a large comment section on the back here, and you can see this is laid out just like what you would see with like a Microsoft Word style document. I can open this up and just type in whatever I want. I can bold, italicize, or change the alignment of it all right here. One cool feature that we have included in the system for Allison James is there's also a suggested copy option here. So what that means is, let's say you're having a hard time kind of getting the creative juices flowing on what this postcard needs to say. You can click that suggested copy, and now it's going to give you a bunch of real estate specific content that you can pull from and insert right into your postcard. So anything from headlines to subheadlines to comment sections, it just gives you lots of information that you can find, and you can just select whichever one you would like to use by clicking on it and then clicking the select, and that'll populate that right into your postcard. You can still modify it after the fact, so if you just want to use that to get started, you can insert some of that suggested copy right into your order and then modify it to suit your needs. Since I already have some content in there, I'm not going to do that now. I'm just going to click the cancel button. But with that, this is all the information that I need for this postcard. So let's go ahead and, just like before, let's generate a production proof of this order. Now, one thing to note, where the production times are just a little bit different on things like a mailed order like postcards, if you submit the order today, so let's say once again it's 12:30, our cutoff is 4 o'clock Central Standard, just like shipped orders. The difference is, though, is once I submit this job, we would start printing it the same day, and it would go through the pre-sorting process for the post office that same business day. But then the post office would actually begin the mailing process the following business day. So what happened is I'd submit it today, we'd print it and pre-sort it today, and then it would begin the mailing process tomorrow, or if it's a weekend, on the following business day. So once again, it's generated the proofs here. I can see there's a proof for both the front and the back. there's the content that I put in. Because I selected 2 headshots, you can see it's populated 2 headshots on my piece. And just like before, I can click the View as PDF if I want to view a larger proof of the design here. Because the proof PDFs do populate in a new window, just pay attention to that, because sometimes, depending on your browser, maybe it popped up behind your open window that you have, so just something to notate. If everything looks good, just like before, you'll need to check that customer agreement to continue, or if you want to make changes, just click the Edit Proof button, and that'll take you back to make those changes. Now, here's where the paths on these diverge a little bit. So I have an option here now. It's asking me, do I want to ship these postcards, or do I want to have XpressDocs mail these out? So if I wanted to, let's say, just order like 25 postcards and have them shipped to me, I could click the Ship Order to Me button and then move forward, and it would look just like what we saw with the business cards, where I'm picking the shipping address and what shipping service level do I want to use. Let's take a look at what the mailing side looks like. So I'm going to select the Use Our Complete Mailing Service, which is going to have XpressDocs manage mailing these out for me. I'll click the Next button to move forward. So the next question is, it's asking me, what postage type do I want to use? Do I want to mail these out first class mail? Or do I want to mail these out standard mail? Now, standard mail has a few other names. It's also known as third class mail. It's also called bulk mail. So it has a few different names that it goes by. It's all basically the same thing. It's a non-prioritized postage type. Now, what that means is that the post office is always going to try to deliver all their first class mail first. So if they're overloaded with a lot of mail, they're going to deliver all their first class mail, and then once they're available, they'll then deliver the standard mail. Now, if you're wondering why you would want to do that, then the benefit is that on average, it discounts the postage costs by about 11 to 12 cents per piece that you send out. So it's a pretty significant savings that you get. And you can see here, there's actually an estimated cost right here next to each of these, depending on different quantities that you're mailing out. So you can see actually as the costs are going down as you're producing and mailing out more of these. And you can see the standard mail is on average about 11 cents cheaper than first class. Now, I'd recommend sending out first class mail if you're sending out something that's going to be time sensitive. So let's say you're doing an open house. Well, that probably has a hard date that you need to make sure that that mail delivers by. So in a case like that, I'd recommend using your first class mail. If you're sending out something that's not time sensitive, there's not a hard date that you're trying to hit it by, some sort of like an agent announcement postcard or something along those lines, then I would recommend taking advantage of the cost savings and using standard mail because that'll allow you to take advantage of that cost savings. You don't have to worry about it having to deliver by a specific time frame. So I'll just select the standard mail since that's the more cost-effective option. And I'll use the Next button, just like everything else, to keep moving forward. Now it's going to give me a few options for the mailing section. If I have any address lists saved in my account, I would be able to see any address lists that I've already uploaded previously. Just like headshots, we automatically save all your address lists for you on file in the system. Since this is a new account, you can see that it doesn't have any lists in here. So let's go ahead and take a look at how you could create an address list or how to upload in an existing mailing database that you may have. So you can see up here at the top, there's a few different options here. So we'll briefly take a look at each of these so you can see how it would work. Let's say you have a spreadsheet that has your current client database in it and you want to mail to that. Well, let's go ahead and upload that in. So we'll click the Upload list. This will give you options here. If you want to take a look at formatting, you can just click the example here and it'll show you the formatting of how your spreadsheet should look. The high-level summary is basically we can accept it in pretty much any format that you upload it in. The important thing is to just make sure that whatever your database format is, that all of the records follow that same format. So if you have the full name all in one column, that entire column should all be full name. You don't want to have, John Smith in column A and then John in column, in row 2 and Smith in column B, etc. So just make sure that it all follows a unified format to make sure when you upload it in that the system is uploading it in properly. It'll accept pretty much every major database format. Just like a headshot or a photo, you'll just want to browse for where you have that spreadsheet saved. Then click the Upload button. We'll automatically try to make sure that we're recognizing each of the columns as the correct thing. For example, you can see Becky is at first name, Stringer is at the last name. So it's asking you to verify that, and you can make changes on the fly here, so you don't need to go into your database if you need to make a quick change to it. If all that looks good, you just click the next button, and it'll ask you, do you want to just upload your addresses as is, or you can choose to inject things like or resident, occupant, or homeowner below the name. And what that does is that ensures 100% mail deliverability by the post office, as that gives the post office the ability to either attempt to deliver it to that person, and if that person is no longer there, instead of trying to forward off that mail or maybe return it back to you, if you add in that or resident, occupant, or homeowner below there, they'll just then give it to whoever is currently living there. So some people like to add that in because, like I said, it minimizes things like mail bouncing around or getting returned back. In the case, somebody's moved and there's a new person living in that home now. Some people don't like to do it because they don't think it looks quite as personal when you get that. So it's sort of up to you and kind of depends on the direct mail piece that you're working on and whether or not you would want to use that. You'll also have the ability, just like everything else, to name the list whatever you want, and this is how we'll save it on file. So if I wanted to call this my client list, I would just name it that, and then click the approved button. Now what it's going to do here is this is going to do a live cast certification through the post office of my mailing records. Depending on the size of your list, if you're uploading in a 10,000 list, it may take a few minutes to do that. In this case, those 100 records passed in just a few seconds. What it's going to tell you is how good or bad the mailing list that you are using is. In this case, all 100 of the records that I uploaded in passed, and none of them failed. Now, in the event, let's say 90 of these had passed and 10 of these had failed, it would tell you that. And what we would do is we would automatically upload in all 100 records for you, including the 10 bad records. But we would also automatically not mail, print, or charge you for any of those bad records. So I could still use that list, and it would just automatically not use any of the bad records. And we do that just to make sure that we're minimizing how much mail is going out that is bad or may bounce or not actually mail out properly. Now, once you have it uploaded in, you'll see that it's saved it now in my address lists here. I can either delete it out from my account, or if you want to edit it or make changes to it, you can click this little pencil icon here, and that will allow you to edit your list that you have saved in here. The good news is we'll automatically, just like everything else, we're going to save this in your account going forward. So if I want to use this client list again in the future on another mailing, we'll automatically save it in your account, and you can have as many address lists saved on file in your account as you'd like. You can also create address lists. Now, to notate, XpressDocs, we are not a data provider, but what we've done is we've integrated various data providers such as Acquium, Equifax. There's quite a few different ones that we've integrated their APIs directly into our system. And what that does is it allows you to be able to purchase different types of lists on the fly to use on your mailing. So we'll real quickly take a look at those. A radius list and a street list are probably the two most common types that we see. What that is a radius list. If you select that, this will allow you, it'll default to whatever the property address is that you're using on the postcard. What I'll do here, let's do a quick example. I'm actually going to use our office address here in Fort Worth. So what I'm doing is I'm entering a property address and a zip code. I'm specifying, do I want to target single and multifamily homes, single family only or multifamily only, and then how many records do I want to pull? So let's say I want to pull 100 records. I would input 100, and now when I click search, it's going to do a live database query against these data providers, and it's going to instantly tell me, okay, so we're going to pull the 100 closest records around that address that you input. It's going to pull 1 from Beach Street, 97 from Northern Cross, and 2 from Tanner Cross. And just like before, I'll have the option of injecting or resident or occupant if I want to. I can name it, so I can call this my 4901 North Beach Street list. You'll need to agree to the terms and conditions, which is basically telling you that there is a one-time cost associated with this list. It's a 5 cents per record to create a custom radius list. So what that means is if I created a list of 100 records like this one here, and I used it on my order, there's going to be a one-time charge of $5 from the data provider to generate that list for you. Now the good news is you can use that list over and over again in the future. So it's just a one-time charge, and it's going to automatically now save that radius list that I created in my account. You can see now I have both the radius list and my client list saved on file. So I could actually mail to both. You can see I have a check mark next to each, so I can actually mail to as many lists that I have in my account as I'd like. If I only wanted to mail to my radius list, then I would just uncheck my client list. And now when I move forward, I'm only going to send out to the 100 clients that I've created on the radius list. Street lists are very similar, but the difference is you're just adding in one street at a time. You just add in the street name and the zip code, specify the address type, and then you just manually add each street one at a time. So this is great for being able to do things like if you're just trying to target a specific neighborhood. Just like the radius list, it's going to have a one-time cost of 5 cents per record as well for that. EDDM Elite, this is a new program. You may have heard of EDDM from the post office. It stands for Every Door Direct Mail. What this is an option that will allow XpressDocs to handle your EDDM mail for you. What EDDM is it allows you to mail to an entire carrier route. So you're usually targeting several hundred records or sometimes several thousand records in a whole carrier route. And because you're mailing to the entire carrier route, the post office will take even more postage discounts on top of the standard mail discounts that you already have, usually around 6 to 10 cents in additional savings. So you're mailing usually to a larger group. Now, if you do EDDM yourself, or if you've done it in the past, that means you probably had to have the postcards printed, and then you actually have to physically take them into the post office yourself. You can use the EDDM Elite program here to be able to have XpressDocs manage that for you. And what we'll do is you would just come in here, enter the zip code that you would like to use. You can also search by city and include things like businesses or not. And when you click search, it'll pull up all the different carrier routes that are available in that zip code, and you just select whichever zip code you want to mail to. So if I want to mail to C023, you can do that, and that'll allow you to mail out that EDDM for that particular carrier route in that zip code, and XpressDocs will manage all that for you, so you don't have to take it into the post office yourself. Let me move back here, and we'll go back to the main screen that I'm on. And then last but not least, there's also an option for demographics. I should clarify too on the EDDM Elite, we don't charge you to create the EDDM Elite mailing databases. There's no cost for that. We'll just automatically generate those EDDM lists for you for free. Demographic lists, what these are, these allow you to pull in a much more highly targeted list. So let's say, for example, you can search for, you can actually see here a wide variety of different parameters to be able to create a highly targeted mailing piece. So if you want to target, for example, people that are over age 50 with an income of over 150,000, you can specify their gender, whether it's single or multifamily homes, their residence value, their net worth, whether they own, rent, or how long they've lived there. There's a wide variety of parameters. You can select different options to create a highly specialized list and only mail to those records. So it's a great way to target very specific groups of people. The cost on these demographic lists are a little bit higher. They're usually around 10 or 11 cents per record to be able to generate that. So for example, if you're generating a demographic list of 100, it'd be a one-time cost of about $11 for that list instead of $5 like the radius or street lists. But it's a very powerful tool, and also allows you to do a little bit of farming and prospecting, because you can actually generate those queries on the fly to actually get an idea of what type of demographics are available in different geographic areas around you. Now, if you wanted to move forward with just that radius list and the mailing list that I uploaded, just make sure they're both selected and click the next button. What it's going to do now is it's giving me a quick warning that even though all those 100 records from my client list passed, 2 of them had a warning. And what that warning is, and if you hover over it, it'll give you these notices here. It's basically just saying 2 of the records, they're at risk. So they do technically pass, but they're a little sketchy, and so just as an FYI. If you wanted to cancel and make changes, you could do that, or you can continue anyway. So really what we're trying to do is just make sure that you're aware of just how good and clean the data is that you're using, just to once again try to minimize those bounces and returns back. So you can see now, did another quick NCOA check, which is once again just helping validate the data. We'll automatically mail out a sample card for free, and it'll default to your information since once again I'm in a sample account. It's showing sample information here. we'll send out that sample card for free on every mailing. If you want to change where it's going, you just click this edit button and you can send that sample card anywhere else. So let's say you want to mail it directly to a client or maybe to your home address or an office. You can just specify whatever address you'd like to use. And last but not least, it'll ask you for enhanced coating. We'll automatically apply a high gloss UV finish to the front of your postcard for free. There's no cost for that. It'll automatically have that selected. In the event you just want to use the default cardstock, you can click none and we will not apply that finish on there. But I'd recommend leaving the high gloss finish on there first off because it looks really good, but also it does help with durability. As you know, the postcards do have to travel through quite a few mail sorters with the post office, and sometimes they get burns and rub marks on them, and that UV gloss finish just kind of helps with the durability as they're traveling through the mail. So I'm just going to leave it on there since there's no cost for that and it's automatically selected for me. And I'll just use the next button to move forward, and once again, here I am at my checkout screen. It'll show me my information, and I can just fill out my credit card information, and just like before, make sure you click that Submit for Approval button once you're ready to submit the job. So we've got about 10 minutes or so left on this call. That's covered quite a bit of ground. I appreciate everyone's patience. I know we talked about a lot of different stuff today. But what we're going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and open up the section for questions. So if you haven't had a chance yet and you'd like to take a look at questions, definitely jump in there and submit a question, and I'll do what I can to review those. Okay, so we have 2 people that have submitted questions saying that they're having an issue during the registrations. One person said that it was not accepting the answer to the question for their security question. What I'll need you to do on that is if you can just send an email to info@xpressdocs.com and just let us know what you're seeing there, or you can open up the live chat option and connect right in there. We can take a look at it. I'm not sure I can diagnose that without seeing what prompt it's giving you on that. And someone else says that they're trying to register, but it's saying their office cannot be located. Now, all the offices should be automatically loaded into the system. If you're having a hard time or it's not recognizing the zip code for that office, you'll probably want to reach out to us. You can reach out to Victoria or myself directly, and we can see what we can do about getting that office headed in if it's for some reason not already in the system. Okay, so there's a question that says, can I watch this entire webinar again? Yes, this is a recorded webinar, and what we'll be doing is after the call, we'll be processing the video, and I'll send it out to Victoria, and then she will disperse this out. So if you guys want to be able to reference this again, you can definitely do that. So there's another question on, can you talk a bit about customizing the business cards? Yes, so real quickly, there's a variety of different business card options that are available. So to do that, you're going to want to open up the business card section, and you'll be able to see there's a wide variety of different designs that are already in the system ready to go. Some of the designs are going to be what they would call a vertical design, meaning that they're going to be the tall business cards. Others will be horizontal. All of these, you can see there's different color scheming options. Some are going to be in the black, some are going to be in the gray. Some of them are not going to have headshots, so if you don't have headshots or you don't like to use a headshot on your business cards, there's options available for that. You can see there's quite a few different business card designs here. And any of these, you can select them, you just click on them, it'll give you a higher resolution look at that. You can take a look at that thumbnail, see if that's one you want to work on. So any of these that you see, you could select them just by clicking the select button. It'll give you a confirmation of the different costs. And now we're kind of back where we were when I first started. Now showing the other business card that we put together. What it's going to need you to do now is it'll just ask you to fill out each of the fields here that are going to automatically be set up in the system. So in this case, on this particular design, you would just need to add in your first name, last name, website information, your full name spelled out, since that'll pull that in on the back, your title, and all of your information, including your license information here. So depending on the business card template that you select, these fields may change. So some of the designs have a little bit more information, some of them have a little bit less information. So it kind of depends on which business card you selected for what fields you're going to need to fill out to customize out your business cards. Now, in the event that some of the information isn't relevant, most of these fields are not required, so you can empty some of the fields out. Let's say you don't have a mobile phone and it's requesting that. You can skip over that field. It'll just put a gap in the business card there for that. Let's see if there's any other questions. The question is, on the demographic mailing list, how do you designate which state you are located in? That's a great question. When you're building the demographic lists, it's going to be just like what we saw with the radius or the street lists. It will give you the option of being able to pick where you want to generate the those records at. So let's say you've picked all your demographics. I want to target females that make $100,000 a year that own their own home. Well, the next question, I didn't get to that since we were kind of running low on time, but the next step in that to create that list would have been to specify what geographic area you want that to be in. So you could say, do I want to just target a whole zip code? Do I want to target a city, or do a radius like what we saw with the radius where I'm pulling in, say 100 records around an address? You can do that. So you have a wide variety of different geographic options for your demographic lists. So here's a question that says, if we duplicate an address in uploaded address lists, will you mail the postcard twice? That's a really good question. And the answer is yes, because our system will not suppress any data that you upload in. So what that means is data suppression, if you've heard the term before, means that you're suppressing records out that are the same. We have a lot of clients that mail to homes that sometimes share the same address, and they have just subtle differences on the suite numbers and things like that. So by default, we do not suppress out any records. So if you upload in, 5 records that all have the exact same address and those records pass, we will print and mail to all 5 of the records that are in there. So just something to be aware of, that if you're uploading in the same address, we will automatically mail to that address, even if it's in there multiple times. Which sometimes, that works out to people's advantage, because sometimes they want to mail out additional seed cards, sometimes to themselves or other clients. So sometimes it can be used to your advantage. The question is, how do we connect our professional photographer to our account? So how that's going to work is you will need to connect directly with Victoria and let her know which photography service you have, and she'll work directly with us. Because what we would need to do if we're adding in a photography company is we first need to see if it's one that we're already integrated with. Like I said, there's about 30 different companies like Shutterbug and VHT and OBO and companies like that, usually some of the larger national photography companies. So not every professional photographer is going to be integrated in our system, usually just the large service companies. But what we've done is we've integrated the site to be able to link directly to their APIs, and then we can pass it in. In the event that you're working with a photographer or a company that we are not integrated with, we can reach out directly to that company and see if they're open to us integrating. Some of the companies, they're not technically able to integrate with us, just depending on limitations in their website. So in a case like that, you would just want to reach out to us, and we'd be able to get you set up to be able to access that professional photography company. The question is, what is the phone number to call? If you have questions, you can see it's up here at the top of the screen. I believe you should also be able to see it from the landing page. Yes, here down at the bottom. You can see from that landing page I told you at the beginning, XpressDocs.com, there's a contact us. It's 866-977-3627. You can also email in at info@XpressDocs.com, or there's a live chat option down here as well from the home screen. If you're logged in, you'll be able to reference that here up on the top right-hand menu. All right, and I haven't seen any other new questions pop up just yet. Okay, here's another one that just came through. It says, will the price per postcard be adjusted if there are bad addresses, i.e. order 500 with 7 bad addresses, thus mailing to 493? That's exactly correct. So in that case, if you uploaded in that 500 and 7 of the records failed, we would upload all 500 for you. We're not going to delete out the 7 bad records. We'll keep them in there. That way you can actually see which records fail, but the system will automatically not mail to those 7 bad records. So we would only charge you for the 493 that we actually are printing and mailing, but we would keep all 500 in there, like I said, just so you can be able to reference whichever records are actually bad. In some cases, it may be something you can actually just make an adjustment directly to that and fix it so that it's good if something's misspelled, for example. Can you add headshots to calendars? That's going to depend on the calendar options that are selected from the personal marketing. But yes, on pretty much all of the personal marketing categories, when you're looking at it, whether it's holiday pieces or calendars or things like that, there'll be an option. The fronts are all professionally designed, but on the back, you'll notice that some of the different back options will include areas for a headshot. It'll automatically pull in the Allison James branding and all that, but yes, you, on pretty much all of the personal marketing pieces, there'll be an area for you to be able to go in and upload in your headshot. The question is, do you work only with Allison James or other companies? Yeah, yes, we work with a wide variety of different companies. Question is, so the price point would increase in this case. I'm not sure what question that was referencing. How the pricing would work is it's going to always be dependent on the quantity. So if you're mailing to like a minimum quantity of say like 25 or 50, because we're not printing as many, usually the cost would be a little bit higher. And then as you pass certain thresholds, the costs automatically go down. So you'll see on any of the products when you select, you'll see a breakdown of quantities and prices, and you'll see the costs go down as higher thresholds are met. So as you're printing more and more, the costs fall fairly dramatically because our cost to produce them goes down fairly dramatically as well. So hopefully that answers your question on the pricing. Can we put an additional logo on postcards or flyers, etc.? Not at this time, no. That may be something that gets added in the future. That would be a question probably for the marketing team. But right now, the way the templates are designed, it's just going to pull in the Allison James branding right now. I appreciate all the great questions that you guys have been submitted in. I'm not seeing any new ones, and we are just about out of time. Oh, one new one just popped in real quick. If a friend of mine at a different company wants to contact you, yep, they can definitely just call in that main line if they have any questions as well. All right, so once again, thank you so much, everyone, for calling in. I appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy day. We're really looking forward to working more with Allison James and all you guys in the future. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out for us, and we'll get you guys all taken care of. Have a good rest of the day, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.